Welcome to That's Good Sports. I'm your football idiot, Brandon Perna, and I am terrified that nobody wants to coach my Denver Broncos.
That's what I'm doing.
So today I'll break down the long list of rejections the Broncos have received from possible head coaches, why it's happening, and who is still in the running for the job. I'll also touch on Brock Purdy's elbow injury and how it really does open the door for Tom Brady to go to San Fran. Brady's career started because of an injury to Drew Bledsoe, and now he's going to ride off into the sunset because of Purdy's injury. Whew. That's good sports. Please give my YouTube channel a sub if you like football, and if you think you could be the next Broncos head coach. Also, another reminder, we're doing our Patreon Zoom Hangout Wednesday evening. That info is in the YouTube community tab for all $10 YouTube members and on Patreon for all $10 Patreon members. And I do have a shout out for new patrons, Jonathan Kaylee Eile and Arthur Janicelli. Thank you guys so much for your support of this show. All right, Brock Purdy. What? Oh, Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy tore his UCL in the NFC Championship game. Now that's a tough scene for all the idiots who said he should have fought through the injury, okay? Pretty hard to throw a football without that ligament in your elbow. It's like trying to drive a car without a steering wheel. Now it was a complete tear, and the fact that he went back into the game is pretty legendary. Here's the problem for the 49ers for the upcoming season. Purdy is getting second opinions about the best form of treatment moving forward, ranging from rehab to a repair to a full reconstruction, which could put him out for a very long time. It's thought that he's going to have a repair and should be ready to start throwing in roughly 3 months-ish, but be a full go by the time training camp starts in August. So, a lot of uncertainty. Should note, though, that the last quarterback who had this injury was Kerry Collins, and he made a full recovery and nearly won Comeback Player of the Year. So there's no telling when he will feel normal throwing a football. And after watching Brock Purdy, my takeaway was that the number one thing he needed to work on was accuracy and ball placement. Now, he can't do that, and he will basically have to relearn to throw. Which is not ideal for the 49ers, who are about to lose one of their top coaches and defensive coordinator, Demeco Ryans, and are seeing their Super Bowl window shrink. Like Jimmy G smile once he realizes Tom Brady is taking the job he really wants back in San Francisco. I do believe Tom Brady will be the 49ers' top target if they decide to make a play at QB. Like Aaron Rodgers, though, Tom Brady first has to decide to come back, and I believe he will, and I believe he has no interest in returning to Tampa Bay with Todd Bowles as head coach. I don't care who they land as their OC, their defense is declining, they are $55 million over the cap and have 24 unrestricted free agents with key contributors like Jamel Dean, Logan Ryan, Nunez Roches, Keanu Neal, Murphy Bunting, Levante David, Brady, and even Akeem Hicks, who was pretty key on keeping that D-line respectable. In terms of defensive snap count, 7 of those guys were top 15 for the Bucs. Now, Aaron Rodgers would be a better fit for the 49ers offense, and I still believe Rodgers is physically a better quarterback than Tom Brady. The issue with Rodgers, of course, is that his asking price, if he is willing to be traded and the Packers are willing to deal, will be high. And unless the Packers are high on a guy like Trey Lance or Brock Purdy and they could be part of the trade, it would be crazy for the 49ers to give up significant draft capital for Aaron Rodgers. I think there's just a lot of risk to acquire Rodgers, especially when you don't know how long he might keep playing. And there was this stat this season that Brock Purdy's receiving targets had more separation than any other group of receivers in the league while Purdy was passing to them. Brady may be declining, but he can still hit wide open guys. He's done it his entire career. Tom Brady is quite literally also the healthiest QB to ever play the game. The 49ers' biggest problem is injuries to the quarterback position. A week ago, I would have said it would be dumb to stunt Purdy's growth by bringing in Brady for a season, maybe 2. Purdy was playing that well, but because of the severity of his elbow injury, I think it would be in his best interest to not rush back. And I don't think there's a football person on earth who believes Trey Lance would be better than Tom Brady for this team next year. Tom comes freely as a free agent and will not ask to be the highest paid quarterback in the league. And yes, it makes a ton of sense for the Niners to just roll with Trey Lance and see what the hell they got in the guy that they traded up to get. But Brady wouldn't cost as much as Rodgers in terms of his contract. They wouldn't have to give up anything to get him, and he would be fucking good on that insanely stacked team with one of the best coaches in the league. They make so much more sense than the Raiders, it's disgusting, and I'm already sick knowing he's gonna be competing for a Super Bowl again. You know what won't make you sick? My coffee. BenchwarmerBrew.com. We launched 2 new blends of coffee this month. The HBTC blend with YouTuber Col de Ruse, and my Losers blend for all the losing ass loser team fan loser suckhole losers. BenchwarmerBrew.com, and we've got our new 8-bit shirts there. Check it out. All right, the big story. Why come nobody wants to coach the Broncos? Does Russ suck? Is it because they don't pick until the end of the first round? With a lot of holes to fill? A horrible offensive line? Or does everyone just despise Walmart on a moral level that much? Possibly all of those things. As a fan, I have to come to grips with the fact that the Denver Broncos are no longer a desirable destination. We are the bottom bastards of football. And they say no news is good news, which is only true if you're waiting for like really bad news, like a cancer diagnosis, or a jury to reach a verdict, or your test results on your sexuality. But if you're a fan of a professional sports team waiting for a coach, it's torture. After getting their asses slimed on Christmas, the Broncos fired their head coach Nathaniel Hackett. That's when the parade of nobody wanting this job truly began. Obviously, if your head coach gets fired before season's end, things are not going well. You could call it a dumpster fire. Now that's especially true if it's a first-year head coach. And after firing Nate Dogg Hackett, Broncos defensive coordinator Ejiro Evero politely declined the interim head coaching gig. That was rejection number 1. Our own best coach said, no, thanks. Not for me. You're not suckering me with that shit. But it worked out. Nathaniel Hackett's game manager, Jerry Rosberg, stepped in and actually did a hell of a job as interim head coach. So much so that I think Broncos fans would gladly welcome Jerry back as the big man in charge. Especially if Ejiro Evero stayed on as DC and they found a sexy offensive coordinator. Now, there are currently 4 remaining head coaching vacancies in the NFL. The Broncos, Cardinals, Colts, and Texans. The Panthers struck first, hired Frank Reich. And even though they too had a pretty damn good interim head coach in Steve Wilks, they went in a different direction. Now, the Broncos have interviewed Jim Harbaugh, Sean Payton, Ejiro Evero, Demeco Ryans, Jim Caldwell, Raheem Morris, Dan Quinn, and former Stanford head coach David Shaw. Jim Harbaugh was the first of those to turn down the gig, proclaiming he would return to Michigan to coach the Wolverines. That was rejection number 2. After that, news broke that the front runner was indeed Sean Payton, with side chicks Dan Quinn and Demeco Ryans as 2 candidates Denver brass really liked. Dan Quinn then announced that he decided to return to Dallas as their defensive coordinator. Rejection number 3. Things grew very quiet though with Sean Payton, who also interviewed for the Arizona Cardinals head coaching job. Payton, though, kept having dinner with Colin Cowherd and dishing out all of his secrets.
Be quiet, I'm answering the question. Be quiet. You asked a question, I'm answering it. You gonna let me finish?
Rumors started to fly as to why Payton did not want the Broncos job, but more on that in a sec, okay? With Harbaugh and Quinn out, Demeco Ryans became the guy, a hire that was about to fire up Broncos country because of what he did with the 49ers defense and the general consensus from his former teammates and coaches that he had worked with that he was going to be an amazing head coach, that he was the next slam dunk hire. He's a passionate leader, smart, and also sexy. Just once, I thought the Broncos could have had a good-looking head coach. Just one time. It seemed like fate once Broncos fans got wind that Ryans once sued his former team, the Texans, due to shitty field conditions, which he blamed for ending his career early. If you recall, Broncos ownership spent $400,000 to fix their field for the final game in a meaningless season back in January. So why wouldn't Ryans want to come and coach for a team willing to take care of the field like that? Why would anyone want to work for someone they once sued? Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask that fucking traitor Demeco Ryans. Rejection number 4. Being told you're less desirable than the Texans is like finding out your wife has been cheating on you with a potato. But a glimmer of hope started to sparkle in the Rocky Mountain sun as we learned Greg Pinner, who is running the team, flew out to Ann Arbor, Michigan to meet with Jim Harbaugh, only so Jim Harbaugh could get a free lunch, probably at a McDonald's inside a Walmart, and tell the Broncos no again. Rejection number 5. If Harbaugh has to say no to the Broncos one more time, he may have to file a restraining order against them. Now the good news, the Cardinals, the Colts, and the Texans still haven't hired their next head coach. I don't think this timeline is as crazy as Twitter would make you believe. All these teams remain patient, which is probably how this process should go, right? So why doesn't anyone want to coach the Broncos? Well, let's go back to Sean Payton. Colin Cowherd revealed Payton was a little concerned about Russell Wilson. Not that he couldn't fix his issues on the field, but you know, his celebrity, and that he has his own parking space, his own office, an excuse used so frequently it has become a trope. Another trope is apparently nobody wants to coach in a division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure coaches are terrified of the guy who gave up the 3rd biggest lead in postseason history. Mahomes, yeah, he'd be a bitch to coach against. But if you're a head coach in the National Football League and you're scared of competition, you're not gonna be a good head coach. I have a hard time believing that anyone at the NFL level is scared of competition. But also, Cowherd said the Broncos are in cap and draft hell, which is not exactly true. The books will be tight this year for Denver, but they currently have the 13th most cap space, and we all know how easily that can change. Here's why Cowherd is wrong. Sean Payton knew all of those things before interviewing with the Broncos. None of that was a big secret that was revealed to him during the interview, okay? The truth is, teams cooled on Sean Payton. And the big reason for that is because Mickey Loomis, the Saints GM, is asking for 2 first-rounders to trade Sean Payton. If that asking price is true, then yes, the Broncos would be in a shit position via the draft. Okay, for 2023 and 2024. So yeah, even a coach as good as Sean Payton might have some reservations about coming to a team that's not gonna have a draft pick in the first round for the next 2 years with the quarterback he's not sold on, while also having to try and fill big roster holes without draft picks. But I do think Sean Payton still wants Denver, but it's complicated because of the trade. And I think Denver wants Harbaugh, but it's complicated because he's got a sweet gig at Michigan.
Michigan's always been great.
I think Dan Quinn knew he was choice number 3 or 4, and I think a first-time head coach wants no part of trying to fix Russell Wilson. The fact, though, that Denver met with John Harbaugh again keeps that door open for Harbaugh, even if it's just a little. The Broncos also told Ejiro Evero, Jim Caldwell, Raheem Morris, and David Shaw that they were out of the running. And I think we are simply waiting for Broncos ownership to decide how to make it work for Sean Payton or Jim Harbaugh. The Broncos wanted the hardest to get coaches. They didn't want the gettable coaches, and the gettable coaches they wanted had opportunities that were better fits for them. That's why we are where we are. I think that's closer to the truth than the idea that nobody wants to coach in Denver. Yes, you have to play the Chiefs, which sucks. Yes, Russell Wilson needs a lot of work and great coaching to get back to being a decent QB, but that's what coaches do. They work to get the best out of the players. The biggest thing this job has, outside of the deepest pockets in the league, is low expectations. You don't have to do much to be better in 2023 to improve this team. And if Russ is indeed unfixable, you will be given the opportunity to move on from him because of Broncos ownership. That can happen. Thanks for watching That's Good Sports. Please subscribe here on YouTube, and if you like Twitter or Instagram, I'm there at Brandon Perna. Should have some shorts coming up tomorrow, another video, power ranking / prediction for Super Bowl. I don't know. We'll get there. We'll do it.